Four men enter a forest to honor their fallen friend. What they discover inside is older than myth, darker than grief, and hungrier than any beast. This is the ritual, a journey that begins with pain and ends in something beyond understanding. Luke, Rob, Dom, Hutch, and Phil, best friends, closer than blood. They laugh, they drink, they plan a trip. One last adventure before adulthood fully pulls them apart. But inside that small store, fate takes a turn. Rob doesn't walk out alive. Luke watches, frozen, as the thief demands his wallet. He hides, doesn't move. And just like that, everything changes. Months later, the four remaining friends hike through northern Sweden, grief heavy on their shoulders. A final tribute to Rob, a final test of friendship. The trail is steep, but spirits are high, until Dom twists his knee. To save time, Hutch suggests a shortcut through the forest. That's when the silence begins. The further they go, the less the world feels natural. They find it hanging from the trees. An elk mutilated and displayed like an offering. Blood drips onto the mossy floor. They say nothing, but fear begins to grow roots. Rain forces them to seek shelter in a cabin. Old, abandoned, and inside, a statue. Human-shaped, antler-headed, kneeling like it's waiting for something. They sleep, but they do not rest. Each man wakes to horror. Luke finds himself reliving the store, staring down that masked man again. Dom screams in his sleep. Phil, naked, entranced, bowing before the wooden effigy. No one can explain it. They flee the cabin at first light, but the forest follows. They begin to hear noises. Snap, crackle, a faint growl. Phil's hands shake. Dom's anger grows, and Luke sees it. Carvings on trees, symbols, a spiral, a warning. They walk in circles. Compass spins, no signal, no map. And the feeling of being watched tightens like rope around the chest. Then Hutch disappears. Gone. Vanished. They search for him desperately, but it's Luke who finds him first, high in the trees, mutilated, arranged like the elk. This is no accident. This forest is not empty. That night, the men speak in whispers. Luke shows them the claw marks on his chest. They aren't from a dream. Luke sees it in glimpses. Between the trees, behind the branches, tall, watching, following them. Dom wants to turn back. Phil begins to cry, and then they find something worse, a trail, beaten into the earth, bones at its edge. It leads to a village, abandoned but lived in. They call out. No one answers, until the cult appears, dressed in rags, eyes full of madness. They knock Luke unconscious, tie Dom and Phil. Luke wakes inside a hut, candlelight flickering across wooden beams. A woman speaks to him low and raspy. She mentions a god, one that lives in the trees. The others aren't as lucky. Dom is taken. Phil is never seen again. Luke is spared, but spared for what? The creature is real, not legend, not a story. A Jotun, a child of Loki, ancient and powerful. It feeds on pain. It hunts the broken. It makes you worship, or makes you disappear. Luke watches as the villagers prepare Dom for sacrifice. Ritualistic chanting rises. The flames glow higher. But Luke remembers Rob. And finally, something inside him breaks. Or awakens, chains, blood. The forest burns around them. The god watches. And Luke must choose. To run, to fight, or to kneel. We won't follow him through that final choice. We won't show you what becomes of the god, because some things are better left in the woods. Not every story ends with answers. Not every god wants prayers, and not every forest is empty. Luke stepped in carrying guilt. He came out carrying something else, something older, something changed, some rituals never end. They echo through the trees, waiting for the next ones to enter. If you enjoyed this recap, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more stories from the edge of fear. Your support helps us keep telling them.